My name is Mark Lucchetti, Associate Field Marketing Manager with Wiley Science Solutions. Welcome to today's webinar entitled Introduction to KnowItAll for Mass Spectrometry. It is my pleasure today to introduce you to our speaker for this informative session, Assistant Editor, Dr. Leanna Ergen of Wiley Science Solutions. Dr. Ergen helps create tools for spectroscopy, structural, and scientific standard reference data, and helps create innovative software applications. She completed her PhD in clinical bioanalytical chemistry from Cleveland State University, where she developed a protocol for processing hyperspectral image data. Leanna joined Wiley in 2022. We are excited to have Dr. Ergen present us today her webinar entitled Introduction to KnowItAll for Mass Spectrometry. We encourage the audience to submit questions, which will be addressed at the end of the session. With that, I'll turn the stage over to Dr. Ergen for her presentation. Take it away, Leanna.
Thank you, Mark. So what is KnowItAll? KnowItAll provides all the tools that you need for effective spectral analysis. When combined with Wiley's comprehensive spectral databases, you have an unparalleled solution for spectral analysis. You have access to the latest technologies with patented tools that you can't find in any other packages, plus expert and automated features to accelerate your workflows. KnowItAll supports multiple techniques, so whether you use one or several techniques, this is an ideal vendor-neutral solution for your lab. So even if you change instruments or add new techniques, you won't disrupt your spectral analysis workflow. The supported techniques are mass spec, IR, Raman, NMR, and UV-Vis. And KnowItAll software is also VPAT 508 accessible. With all the tools that you need for effective spectral analysis in a single, easy-to-use interface, KnowItAll will save you time, improve your workflow, and increase your ability to reach conclusions from your data. We also have a new quantitation tool, mass spectral libraries. So Wiley is the leader for spectral libraries, with the world's largest collection of high-quality mass spectral libraries, including the renowned Wiley Registry, KnowItAll Spectral Library, and NIST Library. With KnowItAll Mass Spectral Library, you can increase the speed and likelihood of identification with access to over 934,000 spectra. We have coverage of a wide range of compounds. It's cost-effective, and it can be bundled with other databases. This is trusted data from a trusted source. So for example, the Wiley Registry and NIST databases can be bundled. This is the most comprehensive combined mass spectral library that's commercially available. It has broad, up-to-date coverage and includes over 3 million spectra. The image at the bottom is depicting how small of a region of overlap the two libraries have. Now let me tell you a bit about this new feature. MS Expert has one-click automated deconvolution and non-targeted spectral search. This can save hours of manual analysis by combining fast, flexible deconvolution with an integrated, non-targeted reference database search into a single automated workflow to identify components. Unidentified components or components with a low match score can be sent to KnowItAll's Search It tool for further investigation using MS Adaptive Search. When I say it's fast, I mean this process takes seconds, not minutes or hours. I'll be showing you this in a demonstration later. The spectral searching capabilities are fast and very sophisticated. So in Search It, MS Adaptive Search can be used to match similar components or use mixture analysis to separate co-eluded components. This technology finds spectral matches that are similar to the unknown, but have additional or missing selective fragments. It then suggests what might be causing the differences where possible. It provides a lot of insight into structural possibilities that can be explored when there's no exact match. I'll be showing you this in a demonstration later as well. And we also have reverse search and mixture analysis. In terms of spectral data management, we have tools to build single or multi-technique databases, including spectra, structures, properties, and other metadata. We also have a number of mass spec calculator functions, including elemental composition, isotopic distribution, a fragmentation tool, and structure drawing. And next, I would like to give you a demonstration of the software. So when you first open KnowItAll, this is what you see. On the left side, there are different toolboxes that each contain various applications. For example, if I click on Basics, you'll see Chem Window, which is our structure drawing application, Report It, which is our reporting tool, and so on. In the Data toolbar, there are applications for data mining, such as Search It and Mine It. I am going to start in the spectral processing toolbox using the MS Expert application. So we do have unit mass analysis, but I want to show you a high resolution GCMS analysis for our first example. This tool automatically deconvolutes GCMS and analyzes all of the components. So I want to open a data file. And the data file that I am selecting is a high resolution data set. So I want to pay attention to a particular retention time at 6.9482 minutes. The mass to charge ratio value of 170.0717 is slightly off for this compound, and I want to show you how to correct it. So I am clicking Advanced, and it's asking me for the instrument resolution. The instrument that this data set was collected on had a resolution of 3 ppm, so I'm giving it that information, clicking OK. Clicking OK once again. So now the mass to charge ratio value, you can see that it's a little bit different, especially in the third and fourth decimal place. So it went from 170.0717 to 170.0726, which is now correct. Also, this instrument resolution setup is persistent. So in the GC pane at the top, I want to look at a peak with a retention time of 7.4282 minutes. So I'm going to click on the box for that peak. So we can see that MS Expert separated two components characterized by peaking at slightly different TIC values, 205.1587 and 163.0502. I am looking down here to see those. I'm going to expand this hit list, and you can see a list of potential matches. So next, I'm going to perform automatic integration. And I can do this by selecting Analysis and Peak Area Integration. Automatic integration, and I'm entering a noise threshold of 5, minimum distance between peaks of 0.5 minutes, selecting Perform Baseline Correction, Replace, and Close. So the GC pane at the top displays peak integration values. And next I want to show you how easy it is to generate a report. So there's a transfer to bar at the top, and I'm transferring to report it. In my setup, I have 2 different report templates to choose from. You can edit and create your own report templates, but I'm just selecting one, clicking OK. and we have a report generated. Now, it is also possible to copy and paste that data table. So I'm going to navigate back to where I was earlier. That's Spectral Processing MS Expert. I can right-click on the components table, copy component information. I would then be able to paste the table into Excel or Word or wherever you want the data. So for my next demonstration, I'm going to show you adaptive search, which finds similar compounds where a fragment group can be present or missing compared to the unknown. So in the data toolbox, I'm opening the Search It application. I'm clicking Spectrum, and I'm going to open this data set, 2-hydroxybenzoic acid. Now, number of components is 1. And right now, I do not want to use adaptive search or reverse search, so those are both unselected. Now, to select the database or databases to search from, you would click User Select. And there is one particular database that I want to use. I know that it has a database code of WMS3X. So I'm going to scroll down and find that. This is our Wiley Registry of Mass Spectral Data, 12th edition. I am adding it, so I am only searching one particular data set. And to start my search, I'm clicking Search. So, KnowItAll did find a good hit in our database with this first result, salicylic acid, but I want to explore adaptive search. And adaptive search is useful when you don't have a good hit in our database. So let's pretend like these first 2 hits were in our database, and this third hit was our top result with a lower HQI of 86.88. So we're pretending that we don't know that this is salicylic acid right now. So I'm going to go back to Search It, clicking Spectrum MSGC, and this time I want to enable adaptive search. And I am going to search again. So we still have salicylic acid as our top result, but remember, we're pretending that that's not in our database. What I want to look at is this second result. It has a very good HQI score of 96.14 out of a scale of 100. And this column, delta M, it's giving us a value of 1. It's saying that this compound we just matched is off by a mass of 1 atomic mass unit. We also have this information button that we can click to get a bit more data. This is saying some peaks in the reference spectrum were offset horizontally by 1 atomic mass unit. So we have our query spectrum at the top. We have a corrected reference spectrum and our uncorrected reference spectrum. So it's just showing that in order to get a good match, we had to adjust the mass by 1. And it is even giving us examples of what might be causing this. So in unknown, pyridine replaces benzene. Hydroxyl group replaces amine. Deuterium replaces hydrogen. Oxygen replaces nitrogen. So in this compound that's off by a match of 1, or off by a mass of 1, you are seeing an NH2 group. And in salicylic acid, which is what we have, the only difference you see is that this is an OH group. So that right there is our difference of a mass of 1. This concludes our demonstration on the KnowItAll mass spectrometry tools. If you have any questions, please visit the Wiley Science Solutions website at sciencesolutions.wiley.com. This is the end of the presentation. We will now open up the floor for some questions.
That was an excellent webinar, Liana. We've reached the end of the presentation today. Thank you, Dr. Aragon, for your time and expertise to present us your talk on the Introduction to Know-It-All for Mass Spectrometry. Also joining us today for the Q&A is Dr. Michelle D'Souza of Wiley Science Solutions. We'd now like to open up the session for some questions from our attendees, which, if you can please type in using the questions toolbar, that would be great. Okay, let's see. Here's a good first question. Is this database useful for the untargeted analysis of metabolites from biological samples?
Yes, in principle, this is Michelle speaking. In principle, it should help, especially if metabolites are small molecules, because right now our database collection are still mostly contain small molecules. Large molecules is a different, it's a different target.
Great, thank you, Michelle. All right, here's another one. Is there an option to search for a specific compound presence in a TIC?
Yes, it is. It is possible. You would have to use search it and search for the TIC as a property. You can search that, or with a MS spectrum, it's really you can narrow it down, but without an MS spectrum, you can get a bunch of close enough TIC ranges, and you have to pick your hit.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
All right. How about this one? What vendor file formats are supported for GCMS?
We have 70 plus vendor formats. Basically, we try to, whenever we see a vendor format and the vendor is willing to share, we would code it and then make sure the file is readable in KnowItAll. So 70 plus, but we don't think that's enough. We're still working on getting more whenever we see one.
Thank you, Michelle. Okay. How about this one? Can you control GCMS analysis by defining average area and background?
Yes, you can do that. What you see presented here is automatic deconvolution. We do have other application that performs. You have the manual, it doesn't do deconvolution, so one has to manually define the average spectrum range and then define the background, and then KnowItAll automatically subtract the spectrum and give you the extract spectrum.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer, Michelle. How about this? Can one perform an MS search with additional criteria such as properties?
Yes. For example, that's what we covered in one of the answers. For example, you have an MS spectrum and you have other properties such as TIC values. You could define both of them. The relationship of these two different criteria is AND. So the logical is AND if you narrow down your search result.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? Is there an option to contrast two TICs as a way of excluding the non-intersecting peaks in a blank run?
This question, okay, we will answer this question later on. It's an interesting question. Contrast two TICs right now. It's an interesting use case. Right now, it's not obvious way to do it in KnowItAll.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
How about this one? Can KnowItAll deconvolute exact mass GCMS?
Yes, that's one advantage of KnowItAll because it's a new product. So many tools can deconvolute unit mass. But KnowItAll can go further, deconvolute the exact mass spectrum. So higher resolution can deal with it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we have. How about this one? Can you save the hit list of a search?
Yes, whenever you perform a search, hit list can be saved, and actually it's a pointer to database entries of each hit. So you can use that as a narrow down list to do further search. So it's like a little database.
Thank you, Michelle. Again, to the audience, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to type them into the questions window. How about this one? Can hits from MS Expert be copied and pasted?
Yes, that Liana demonstrated how to do a copy and paste hit list. But we do have a few questions I noticed in this in the question group, so we may want to address them. One of them is, can you include retention index in matching criteria? This, yeah, you can. That's what we repeat. You can do spectrum search and plus the retention index. We try to put a retention index into our databases, even calculated a retention index, so people can use it. Yes, you can do that, but not. It's in know-it-all way. It's another way, probably like NIST defined, but you can do it. Okay. And then there's another question: would the database for petroleum chemicals include products found in department stores, gasoline at different weathering stages, or is database and individual compound found in TS? This data, we do not have one database. We have a couple of databases. They are intended for individual compounds found in TIC. Okay, but our MS entries are all individual compounds entries. So, but you raised the situation that we would, it's worth our attention and then continue to improve and study. And one more question, Mark, sorry. I have customers who are in hospital setting, especially on newborn screening. Do Wiley have specific metabolite library on this? We are in a process of satisfying this area of the research and operation. So this is really a question for our databases. We're interested in providing metabolite libraries, but it's a process, to obtain those spectrum and then provide them through our software, our database offering. So we're working on that. Thank you for that question.
Thank you, Michelle. Appreciate it. While we wait to see if there are any more questions, just a reminder that this presentation is being recorded and it will eventually be available for on-demand viewing on the Wiley Science Solutions website at sciencesolutions.wiley.com in the webinars section. So we'll have this webinar as well as other on-demand past webinars that we've presented. Okay, here's one, Michelle. Somebody asks the question, I could not find substration transaction from the MS Expert or process it for 2 chromatograms. How would one do this?
Okay, for 2 chromatograms, we don't do that. We perform the subtraction of average spectrum minus the background spectrum, but it's within 1 chromatograph, not 2 chromatograms. If you want to do that, it's pretty complex because when you're doing GC subtraction, actually underlying MS scans have to be taken care of. So that's a complex issue. We will, we heard your concern, and we will figure this part out. Thank you for the question.
Great, thanks for that, Michelle. Again, while we're waiting for any other questions that the audience might have, keep in mind, we will be hosting another webinar in April, on April 23rd, on Introduction to KnowItAll for multi-spectral techniques at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern EDT. So keep an eye out for that as well. Okay, here we go. We have another question. Is it possible to differentiate LCMS and GCMS data of natural and synthetic products?
It's an interesting question. Yes, they are different. So what we do is we collect GCMS spectrum in a database, and LC spectrum are treated as different a database. So you have to, they are different. They are not the same. So we never mix them. So our LCMS database are coming out. Hopefully that would help the research a little bit better.
Thank you, Michelle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there are no more. Looks like we've reached the end of our time today for questions. I'd like to thank our assistant editor, Dr. Leanna Aragon of Wiley Science Solutions, for taking the time to present us her talk on Introduction to KnowItAll for Mass Spectrometry, as well as our associate, Dr. Michelle D'Souza, for joining in for the Q&A. Any questions that were not addressed will be answered by email if able. This presentation will eventually be available for on-demand viewing on the Wiley Science Solutions website at sciencesolutions.wiley.com in the webinar section. Thank you very much for attending and enjoy the rest of your day.